times because we've been having problems uploading videos to YouTube. Yesterday, Gabriel and I went and saw Captain America: Brave New World. Now I know the movie's 2 weeks old and this is all old news, but with all the flack that this movie is getting online, we decided that we were going to come in and give our 2 cents. This is a spoiler full review because we're just going to talk about what we liked, what we didn't like, how it compares to other things, just in general, our thoughts on the movie. So we're not going to go frame by frame or do anything specific, but if you are one of the few people in the world who haven't already figured out what's going on with this movie and you've been trying to stay spoiler free, don't watch this. If you're not one of those people and you're like 90% of the world who already knows what's going on, welcome to the stream. We're glad to see you. We won't be responding to comments right away because we don't have somebody who's doing that. It's just the two of us.
Well, it'll come up on the side.
Right, so we might see it. So we just hit a button and now we're going to talk. We are extremely low tech. Can't quite figure out what our problem with YouTube is lately. So this live thing seemed to work last time. We're going to do it again this time. We want to start by saying, yes, we saw the movie yesterday, but we're doing the filming today because when we came home, well, life kind of got in the way. So that's how things go. We were going to do it right after, and it just didn't work out that way. But the movie's still fresh in our minds. We've talked about it a bit. I do want to say I was one of those people who have watched like Screen Crush and different reviews. I watched Jeremy Johns. I watched the
New Rockstars.
I watched New Rockstars videos. So I knew pretty much everything. Gabriel had stayed almost offline.
I tried to stay very spoiler free. There were some things I knew, like I knew who the villain was.
Well, even if you could call him that.
Well,
but that got spoiled months and months ago by McDonald's toys.
Yeah.
So, but one of the things that we wanted to start off by saying, it cost the two of us went to the movies last night. We spent $65. For $65, we got 2 movie tickets. We got a popcorn and drink combo for me. This one was like 20 something, and for him, he got the good guy version. His was like 30 something. The merch for this movie is a little crazy because not only did we spend $65 on a movie that in 3 months is going to be $25 to own on Blu-ray, but what we didn't spend, they had a Captain America. Did they show him in his helmet? No. They have a Captain America flight helmet that you could buy for a popcorn bucket that was smaller than the typical coffee pot.
Yeah, it's like the little kid popcorn bucket.
Right, and it was $30. So no, we didn't get that one. There's a part of us that were like, oh, we should get it because I mean it appeals to the collector and everybody. Who's not somebody who's got that? Oh man, this was so good, and I want to remember it, and this is the cool stuff. Plus, I mean, you can't go to a movie without popcorn and a drink anyway. So we felt it was a lot of money. We don't regret spending it, but we're very glad we didn't buy. I mean, part of us wishes we had that cool looking helmet, but for $30, and then they had butt pillows. They had these little seat cushions that were Captain America's shield as a pillow, and they were $20.
Yeah, I never was like, we should get that. That was never on the table.
We were like, dude, in like a month they'll have $5 versions of this at Walmart. So we're that one we didn't feel too bad about. But I did want to talk about the merch itself because I mean, this is a metal popcorn bucket. It's a little bit smaller than the it's metal too.
But yeah, they're both metal.
But these are like those they're like, the little tiny bathroom garbage can size. And that's not a bad amount of popcorn. His was bigger than mine, but I thought the Red Hulk picture looked really cool, so I grabbed the Red Hulk set.
I do like the hand
on the shield.
Yeah, him holding the shield like that is very cool.
Which, I mean, that's exemplary of a scene in the movie. Like I said, we're going to do spoiler stuff. In case you didn't know, Red Hulk's in the movie. Played by Harrison Ford, who, yes, that man is 82 years old, but he can still bring it.
He can act very well. That was amazing.
I thought he was
really good.
No, I want to start with the movie overall. We liked it. I don't know why so many people are bitching about this movie online. Oh, can we say that?
Well, I mean, we just did, and we're live on YouTube, so I mean, yes.
So anyway, there are a lot of people complaining, and
you are allowed to swear. Yeah.
Okay, but we watched this movie and we enjoyed it. I knew a lot of the spoiler stuff because, like I said, I had seen the stuff. He hadn't seen it. We were able to enjoy the movie together. It's a movie I would watch again. I mean, we left the movie and I was like, that was really good. I can't wait to own it so we can continue. So we can watch it again.
I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very good.
So a lot of people online are giving it a lot of flack that I don't believe that it's deserved. First of all, one of the best things about this movie, well, it's a good companion piece to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the TV show that I thought was very good on Disney Plus. You didn't have to watch it,
which is very, very nice.
It was nice. I mean, there's a scene in there where Winter Soldier shows up and he talks to Bucky, and what they say is really good, and it makes more sense, the conversation they had, if you realize that time has passed since Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the relationship that they developed. But that was good. But it's a small part of the movie, but it's very poignant. And I think it was more so because we had seen this. As a matter of fact, we just recently rewatched this in the build up to going to the movie because we knew we were going to go. As far as other Marvel movies go, I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, this should have been an Avengers movie." First of all, they're wrong. Captain America needed a movie where he was Captain America, focused on being Captain America. This movie did that. This movie did that well. There are 4 Captain America movies now. There's Captain America, the First Avenger, which is a period piece during World War II, and wasn't great. It's a good movie, and, Phase 1, we didn't have these high expectations, but it wasn't great. I think this movie was as good, if not better, than that one.
I thought it was I'm one of the few that I do not like the first one at all, because I don't like war movies very much, and that it is more war than superhero, and I don't like war movies, so I was just like, I don't like this movie very much at all.
The second Captain America movie is a political drama, and it's, The Winter Soldier, and that is the first Marvel movie I did not see in theaters, and to this day, I still regret not seeing it in theaters because it's one of my favorite, of all the Marvel movies, that is one of my favorites. It is so good. It is so compelling. There's twists, there's turns. The acting is amazing. It's for God's sake, it's got Robert Redford in the movie. I mean,
yeah.
Talk about it's a spy. It's just top notch. This movie, no, it wasn't that good, but it was on par, right? I mean, if I was given which one would I want to watch more, I would pick Winter Soldier over this one. But this was still a really good movie.
I think overall this one might be more enjoyable. Like, it might be more entertaining than Winter Soldier.
I thought the story was a little bit tighter in this one. I really did. I know a lot of people
was very good.
A lot of people online are complaining about, oh, there's all these reshoots and it's a jumbled mess. No, I thought the story was very cohesive. It went right through.
And a lot of those had been debunked. Like, there was not near as much research as.
But it's clickbait. I mean, you gotta have something to compete with everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about competing with everybody. This is just us talking, and you're welcome to join in, but feel free. But I mean, in the whole competitive thing, we're not into that. We don't care. As far as the third movie goes, the third Captain America movie, when you had Civil War, we're bringing in Spider-Man.
It's Avengers. It's Avengers 2.5.
Right. It's an Avengers movie. And when people now were complaining, say, "Oh, this should have been an Avengers movie," I disagree with that. The one thing that I do think that Marvel may have misplaced where it should have been. I heard recently that Falcon and the Winter Soldier was supposed to be the first Marvel TV show, not the WandaVision series. And that if this had been the first TV show back then, if this had come out back then, and then this movie followed a year or two after that, this could have set the stage for Phase 5, and then the mission that could have tied all these things together is at the end of it, you could have had Captain America or Falcon interviewing people to see if they were going to join the Avengers team.
Yeah.
And you could have done stuff like that where they could have reached out to She-Hulk. They could have reached out to, whoever.
And maybe America Chavez.
Chavez, right. Or even Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Or
Shuri's Black Panther.
Right. And they would have had time to maybe mention Bruce Banner. Because, elephant in the room, Captain America doesn't have a rogues gallery in this movie. And in the first Captain America movie, we're fighting Hydra and the Red Skull. Because it's World War II. That's what you're supposed to do. In the second Captain America movie,
it's Hydra
in the nowadays, right? In the third Captain America movie,
it's Zemo using Hydra.
Right. So in this one, it felt good to be something different, but still be a political thriller. The Serpent Society might have been underused a little bit, but the real villain in the story, you don't really, there is no, oh, that's the bad guy. because you've got people who are victims who are trying to do stuff. And with the Marvel universe right now, it's very confusing how things fit and where things fit. Like with the Thunderbolts, is this a team that Ross was putting together because there are no Avengers and that's why they're calling themselves the Thunderbolts with the little asterisk thing? We don't know yet. And if the Thunderbolts are going to be like the villains of the MCU, then why isn't the leader in the think tank utilizing Vanessa, whatever the hell her name is?
Tessa Valentina.
Yeah, to get her doing stuff. You know, I mean, if they've got access to this guy, so and again, I think this is an example of Marvel maybe not connecting all the dots with a person because everybody's siloed off on their own things.
And it can't really be blamed on Marvel either because
No,
with
it's-
COVID and everything, and then they were very pressured to get stuff released
Right.
instead of
Well,
so it was whatever was ready to go was then rushed
yeah.
out instead of keeping a cohesive timeline.
And I'm not saying this stuff to bag on Marvel. I think Marvel's doing a pretty good job. I mean, in this recently we've had some hits or misses, right? I mean, Thor: Love and Thunder wasn't a great movie.
Yeah.
But to be honest, neither was the first or second Thor movie.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that Love and Thunder, it was entertaining. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I saw it in the theater.
I think it's better than number 2.
I like it better than Dark World
That's
myself.
not really hard, low bar to beat, but
We had Wakanda Forever, which I thought was really good, but again, caught a lot of flack because they should have recast T'Challa. They should, or you know,
which I understand that, but I think the way they handled the grief was fine.
And I thought it was a really good movie.
Yeah.
But again, at the end, when they try to tie it into everything else, it's a little bit disjointed. And even when they mention briefly Wakanda in this movie, and in the one hand, they're helping out Sam and Captain America by giving him his uniform, both of them presumably.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's that dig that the president says, it's not, unlike vibranium, this one's not being handled by an isolationist country. Which, let's face it, Wakanda's not an isolationist country anymore. They opened up their doors. They were starting an embassy in California, I believe. So, and that was at the end of the first Wakandan movie. So in the second one, they talk about this destabilization that goes nowhere.
And back in Wakanda Forever, it seemed like they were kind of at odds with everyone over vibranium.
Right.
And now suddenly all buddy with Captain America again.
Yep. Well, and we saw them cooperate kind of in Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
When the
Dora Milaje
showed up,
Zemo.
and when they got Zemo, they brought him to the raft. An American, they didn't bring him to Wakanda to hold. They brought him to the raft. So there's another thing. Why isn't Zemo in the Thunderbolts? You know, I mean, if we've got all these villains in the same place, and I don't know, the Thunderbolts.
Well, it seems the Thunderbolts are almost going to be more of anti-hero as opposed to outright villains.
But Ghost was a bad guy.
She
was an assassin.
But
Taskmaster, that's a bad guy.
Yes, but think back to the ending of Black Widow. Taskmaster gets fixed with the red dust, or whatever, and then the ending of.
And again, we don't know what's going to happen with the Thunderbolts. I am excited for that movie because I like Bucky very much, and I like Natasha's sister Yelena. I think that's amazing. I wish she had been in this movie because the Black Widow that they have was sort of a letdown.
The
Of the hero teams,
she was a good actor. She was kind of distractingly short, which is not against any
no, but
it was almost a bit distracting.
It wouldn't have been, except they kept making a point of it. They talked about how she was tiny, and then in the end they hook her up with Isaiah
Bradley,
and it's like, we got this big black dude and this little tiny white girl. It's like, come on, what do you guys?
And when they show them side by side, it's like he's like two heads taller than her.
Yeah. And I mean, she did some of the Black Widow moves in the one scene where we see her in action, but the rest of the time she's like an investigator or whatever. And it was like an NCI thing.
Yeah.
Of all of the characters in that movie, she was the one that really didn't seem necessary. Well, her and the president's, I don't know if that was the chief of staff, who somehow Sam had this past relationship with. And
I don't know why.
That's his end of the
she seemed very, very.
Where did this person come from?
Yeah.
Because she wasn't ever mentioned in any of the stuff we've seen with Sam before. She's just all of a sudden there. And yeah, that might have been a shortcut, and that's fine. These are nitpicky things. Because again, overall, I think the movie was well paced. The action was really well done. The mystery part was really well done.
The CGI looked very good as well.
Yeah, the places where the CGI was used was amazing. I actually saw a thing on the CGI about Captain America's cowl and about how everybody wants to see it to be skin tight and all perfect, and it's like this magical suit from Wakanda.
Mhm.
But in real life, when you put stuff like that on, you get gaps and everything. So they use CGI to fix all of that,
Yeah.
and that was kind of cool. I thought Giancarlo Esposito, the guy who plays Sidewinder from the Serpent Society, his in the scenes that he's in, he was very good,
Mm-hmm.
and it almost hints at a history between him and Captain America that we don't know about yet. So maybe they're going to try to build this Sam a rogues gallery of some sort. In which case, he would be an excellent member of it if they could afford to keep using him.
Because I thought he was very good. It felt like he was almost underused a little bit.
Yes, and that was some of the theory from the reshoots, is that there had been more of the Serpent Society before, and then they cut it and changed it around a little bit. But I thought that they were a good key where the leader's plan was to use these guys to discredit Raw. I thought that was really cool. I liked, the leader has this mind that's, we got a new super genius. We've already had in the DC or in the Marvel universe, we've had Tony Stark,
who's no longer.
Then we had Shuri.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Banner.
Then we have Banner. We have Ironheart. What the hell is her name? Riri Williams. And then we have that kid that was in Iron Man 2.
Harley Keener. And then we had Nick Fury. I don't know what's going on with him though. He's kind of.
Well, he's a spy who knows everything. He's not a super genius.
Yeah.
And then we have Peter Parker, who's up and coming as a super genius. I mean, everybody's this genius intellect.
And we're about to have later this year. We're going to have Mr. Fantastic
from another universe.
But we'll come into our universe
eventually. We'll
see what's going on.
To be honest with you, for the hype for this movie, I didn't think was enough. I thought it should have been more. I was more excited to see this movie in theaters than I am to see Fantastic Four. My expectations for this movie were fairly high to begin with, and I started to see all this garbage online about how it wasn't living up to the hype, or it wasn't this, it wasn't that, and so my expectations started to come down, but not enough where I didn't want to see it in the theater. And when I saw the theater, I was like, man, I don't know why I let these downers get to me, because this was a great movie. It was entertaining. It had, I mean, the interaction between the actors was so well done. And yeah, there are people who are saying, oh, well, nobody's going to know who these people are because they're from way back. This is a Hulk sequel. Dude, knock it off. They took stuff from the Hulk, yeah, and they turned it into a movie that made sense. Sam being Sam, the guy who, again, in that scene with Bucky where it talks about how Sam is somebody that people can aspire to be. He instills hope in people. He helped to turn Isaiah Bradley from somebody who had been so bitter and withdrawn from everything. And in his series, when he helps Isaiah to be brought back into history, to show to what he had done for this country, and how the Captain America legacy wouldn't be where it is without him. I mean, that's very important, especially if this guy is Patriot's grandpa, and we saw that kid introduced in the series Falcon and the Winter Soldier too. So there's all this potential there, and I'm so glad that they didn't just let it rest. They built on what Sam has done, and
I think you could fully understand this movie without watching Hulk.
Very much. The relationship between Ross and Sam, that's what was important. Ross, yes, there's a different actor. The guy died, and everybody was ticked off about Marvel for not recasting before. They recast this time, and it worked. And the whole thing where he had the mustache, they told him they had to shave the mustache or lose the presidency, so that's why he shaved the mustache. It's a funny little jab at why this is a different person, much like they had to do with Rhodey between the first and second Iron Man movies, And again, those movies were closer together, and maybe this would have fit earlier, much like the Black Widow movie would have made more sense if they had made it sooner than they did. But this movie by itself stands really well. And even in the broader Marvel Cinematic Universe, if you look at the stuff we've seen so far in phase, what are we in, phase 5?
We're in phase 5. We've gotten 3 movies. We've gotten Quantumania.
I thought Thor: Love and Thunder was phase 5.
No.
I thought that
Wakanda Forever was also the phase 5. End of phase 4.
Okay. So those two were kind of weak entries in phase 4 for some people. Like I said, I liked both. Thor I didn't like as much as the one before it. And Wakanda Forever I thought was good, but it was very somber, and it was they were saddled with having to pay respects to a beloved actor who died, and I understand it completely. But then you had Quantumania, and unlike The World, I thought that was a decent movie.
I didn't think it was bad at all. No, I thought it was better than 2.
I did agree that Kang got defeated a little bit too easy near the end, and it was a little bit cornbally.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, "Oh, they should have killed Ant-Man." I think they should. I think if they were going to kill somebody, killing Dr. Pym would have made the most sense in that movie as the older Ant-Man, and then. But anyway, I didn't write the movie.
Well,
I did enjoy the movie. I thought it was pretty good, and I liked it way better than the Marvels.
Yeah. Well, I haven't. I still haven't seen the movie yet, and I don't really intend to.
The two biggest failings that Marvel has had lately is, and I mean, I don't know anybody who's going to disagree with this. I'm not saying this because it was written by a woman, because I don't know who wrote it. I don't know who directed it. I don't know any of that DEI stuff. I don't care. It's the entertainment itself. I did not like Secret Invasion. It just wasn't good.
No.
And I mean, there wasn't anything good really about it. The idea, that was interesting, but the execution was just horrible.
The first episode was good. Well, the first episode wasn't bad.
The first 10 minutes was interesting, engaging, and drew us in, but then it went nowhere.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that Nick Fury was suddenly a bad guy. That Josh Mendelssohn's character didn't last long. I mean, I was like, what? You're killing... That was the character.
And killing Maria Hill off.
Killing Maria Hill was a
in
waste.
episode 1, just for like the shock value, was really silly. But that's not what we're not talking about that.
Right, and again,
it's
like when they killed Agent Coulson in Agents of Shield, or in the first Avengers movie, and then bring him back in Agents of Shield. We were waiting for Maria to have that miraculous moment, but it's not going to happen.
No.
And the CGI was off. The Super Skrulls thing was bad. But the reason I brought that up is because the political turmoil that was established in that movie has never been addressed again.
But yes.
That show. It has never been addressed again. We don't know, was Ritson the guy that was right before Ross? Okay, that's great. It was weird, that was another thing too. After having come off a real political season, to see somebody who's touting togetherness as the reason why we're all bringing everybody together on the ticket, and none of his signs say who his running mate is. It was like, come on, pick a name. It didn't matter who. But in the next movie, that's presumably who the president's going to be. So it'd be kind of nice to have some idea. You know, I mean, if the next movie is going to be the Thunderbolts, and that's going to be this government team, well, who are they working for if we don't even know who the president is? Because the president recused himself and went to the raft.
Yeah. Presumably they're working for Contessa Valentina, but how
they connect,
the government ladder, we don't know how
right.
She is.
And that, you know, I mean, again, that's a nitpicky thing, but that was the only thing that was lacking. Is we saw if they had started this movie with Captain America had helped with the political turmoil that Ritson had left behind. You know, when we start this movie, we have that 5-month jump after Ross wins the presidency.
Yeah.
So, but we don't know what happened. Where did the war that was declared on all aliens go?
Which would have been a really big problem for New Asgard.
Right. I mean, New Asgard. I mean, not to end at the end of even in the Marvels, they're bringing refugees from the Skrull Empire into New Asgard.
I still haven't watched that movie.
And it's like I don't understand how. But again, the Marvels. When you look at yes, we've had great movies. Like Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to touch that. But that was the icing on a cake of a trilogy that was planned, well thought out, and James Gunn was a part of almost all of it. The stuff in between, you know, that happened with the Avengers stuff, which kind of is important to the sandwich of those movies, he may not have had a say in, but he was able to take and then turn it into gold. I mean, it was great. And of course, you have, you know, Deadpool, which is sort of off to the side and isn't something that's going to be comparable to Captain America. The audience isn't going to be the same.
Yeah.
And the expectations aren't going to be the same. As a Marvel movie, this was a solid B+, maybe A-. As a Captain America movie, this is even higher up because there's less to compare. Of the 4 Captain America movies, this is probably the second best.
I agree with that, yeah.
Which one's the first best, we may have a difference of opinion on, and how it ranks among the 4, that might change. But this is... And really, this only had to be a Captain America movie. For these people who are like, oh, this should have been an Avengers movie, or should have had more of the team, or should have had this, or should have had this. No, the Avengers don't exist right now. You know, and that was part of the thing, is Ross was like, I think we need to rebuild the Avengers. And one of the questions is, with who? You know, because there's so many people that have been introduced into the MCU now, and we've got more coming. And you've got the TV stuff going on. And now that Daredevil Born Again is coming, and the trailer advertises the bar in Harlem that is run by Luke Cage. Presumably, not only is Daredevil coming in from the Netflix, but all of the Defenders. So we've got the Defenders team. We've been hinting at Midnight Suns since forever ago, and the Eternals.
Since Moon Knight.
Well, yeah, Moon Knight, the Eternals. There's been these little pepperings of stuff, and now we know the Eternals is canon because Celestial Island was a big part of this movie. So it's interesting because we have there's the Eternals team kind of out there somewhere, and then there's the several different potential Avengers teams. There's the Young Avengers that Kamala Khan's been kind of sort of sprinkling here and there in different TV shows and stuff.
I think
now we have the Thunderbolts coming. That's a team.
Yeah.
We've got the Fantastic Four. That's a team. We've seen other universes where the X-Men are prominent.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a thing. We've seen an Illuminati in another universe. So all of this stuff is out there, and we're barreling forward to, okay, Avengers Doomsday is coming, and we're going to have this big Avengers movie, but we don't have an Avengers team, not yet. And I don't know how they're going to build that before we get there. I mean, what do we have coming up? We've got Thunderbolts, we've got Fantastic Four. I think there's going to be...
I think Avengers is next May, I believe, isn't it?
Really? Doomsday is coming that soon.
Or maybe it's 2028.
Because I mean, really, we the audience may be ready for this, but the Marvel Universe doesn't seem to be ready for it. We've no idea who Doom is or where he fits in with anything. Right now, it's still speculation. Is it a Tony variant? Is it not a Tony variant? God, I hope it's not.
It shouldn't be, but that's...
But I mean, that's one way they'll play it. And then you've got the Sony team going, hey, we're going to throw in a Spider-Man 4 in here somewhere.
Yeah.
And we still don't know if Marvel's going to win and it's going to be a down-to-earth kind of movie where he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that almost could hang out with Daredevil and those guys. Or if it's going to be, I do too. Or if it's going to be this multiverse extravaganza thing that Sony wants to do because they can make a lot of money. Or we don't know. Maybe they'll use the next Spider-Man to introduce Miles Morales. Who knows? I mean, Spider-Man's got a lot of success in what it's done, and we've got the new cartoon show that's like in another universe, and that's almost like a what if by itself. We have the Watcher turning up in all kinds of stuff that people are now saying, oh, now that, you know what? I did not see the Watcher in this movie. I wasn't looking, but I didn't notice him off in the background overlooking anything.
Was he supposed to be?
I don't know, but people have been conjuring. Oh, the Watcher's in this and the Watcher's in that. The Watcher was at the end, they talk about the Watcher in the last bit of What If 3 as if he's done all these different things.
Haven't seen that.
There are people who say that in the trailer for Fantastic Four, they think they see the Watcher along with Galactus, and they think that might be the thing that they're talking about. There's people who said he was in the Spider-Man cartoon, that the Watcher's turning up in all these places, so they think that Jeremy Rush might be playing the Watcher in an Avengers movie.
That could be cool.
It could be, but again, Avengers Doomsday, which used to be
like
Kang Dynasty, where they're tearing apart everything and then throwing Chronopolis or whatever, War World or whatever you call it, Battle World, all together in the void. There's all these possibilities, and everybody's doing all this supposition. What I want to see is some real world building. In this movie, there was a little bit of world building, but again, my nitpick is it didn't go far enough. We don't know who the president is. We don't know who's on the short list that Sam's looking at for the Avengers. We do know that he's looking. That's something that we didn't have before. We do know that the world realizes there is no Avengers team. That's something we didn't have before. And there's all these heroes just out there. And now this Daredevil TV show is going to talk about how, I guess, the Kingpin, who's going to be running for mayor or is mayor or whatever, doesn't want to have vigilantes in his city.
What is confusing to me is the 4 countries that were fighting for Celestial Island. I don't like why those 4. Like it's in the Indian Ocean, so obviously India would make sense. America, because that's where this team is. Japan, which is who we get in a fight with. Well, kind of, but not really.
I think the Japanese thing in the movie is because...
But why is Paris involved?
Well, yeah.
Or France, not Paris, but, well, both, but...
Paris is part of France.
Paris is part of France, not Paris. Why is France involved at all?
They're on the Security Council. But you're right. Why wasn't Great Britain in there?
Yeah.
Why weren't we seeing anything from them?
It's just those 4 that are part of the treaty.
Why weren't we seeing anything from, say, Egypt, which is where we just had this huge thing? I mean, that's where Moon Knight takes place, right? And then they created the Scarab in that TV show, which we haven't. Was that her name?
I don't even know.
But we haven't seen anything since her or about her since.
But like, why is not like no other countries around that area involved? Right. It's India in the Indian Ocean, makes sense.
Well, and in the real
why
world,
is Paris coming down?
In the real world, we don't want to offend China. So
yeah.
Japan was the big Asian rival, not China, because we want this film.
Also Japan makes more sense story-wise, because if we attack China, they're less of our ally than Japan is. Japan's more of our ally, kind of, a little bit. I don't know. I feel like overall this movie was most a sequel, if anything, compared like throughout the MCU, Civil War. I feel it talked about it brought up Sokovia Accords a lot.
It did,
and referenced a lot from Civil War,
and talked very directly about how President Ross, by pushing and supporting the Sokovia Accords, destroyed the Avengers.
It's his fault, yeah.
And now Captain America is rebuilding the Avengers. So again, if you didn't watch the Hulk, and I mean, 17-year-old movie, if you haven't watched the Hulk, you're excused. You don't need to understand what's going on here.
I think you need Civil War.
You do. I think Civil War is important.
Important.
Any of the Avengers movies. You know? And, I mean, you have to watch and again, with this being Captain America 4 for all intents and purposes, you should watch the first 3. So
you can skip on 1.
Right. But I mean, that leads you right into the Avengers, which
which leads you into 2, which leads
And I very much liked Ross is a political animal, and even while they're telling you, oh yes, he's changing, or he's changing, or he's a different man, or whatever, and they're trying to show this stuff, there are times when you can tell that the politics is winning. When he's looking and saying, you're not Steve Rogers, or you shouldn't be here, or get out of here, and whatever. It was really good to see his struggle with his inner demon in ways that weren't very as obvious as when he's like almost turning into the Red Hulk.
The actual Hulk,
and it's coming out. When he's struggling with that was really, really good. And as an actor, again, I gotta say, Harrison Ford is incredible because you could see that inner turmoil. He expressed it really well. Not only in his political side, but also in the personal side when he was worried about Betty or when he's trying to reconnect with his daughter. And that is the one thing in the Hulk where when she looks at him and says, you can never speak to me as a daughter or as a father again, or whatever it was that she said, and she stormed off, you can still feel the weight of that pronouncement. And I almost, if you don't have to watch the Hulk, that's fine, but it almost would have been better if they would have put that scene in there where she said that to him, like if that was a thought in his head.
Like an audio, the audio or something,
where he's thinking about his head, have we heard from my daughter? And that was the guilt that's running through his head. That would have been kind of cool. There are people who said, oh, Betty should have been the one to talk the Hulk down. I gotta say, I'm glad they didn't go that route. This was Sam's movie. Sam has to be the hero. They weren't sure who the villain was, but we knew the whole time Sam is the hero. And who gets to save the day in a hero movie? The hero.
Yeah, and it can't be Sam's first outright outing as Captain America, minus like the flag smash and everything, but his first on big screen.
This is even a movie
as
proving
Captain
himself
America.
to movie audiences he can be Captain America.
You can't have it solved by someone else. It has to be him.
And I gotta say, Sam Wilson is Captain America. He proved it. He earned it. And the ideals that he stands for, you can feel.
And having him talk the people down,
yes,
I feel is better than just punching them.
This is the kind of movie. That's the kind of feeling that I want in a Captain America movie. That's the kind of feeling that we deserve in a Superman movie, and I hope James Gunn delivers that because the last Superman never had that. The last Captain America did. We felt that with Steve Rogers. He had that commanding tone. He had that down-to-earth realism in him. And yes, he also had the super serum, which helped. Sam doesn't have that. And to be a hero in his own right without needing that, he showed that he earned the cowl and the shield in this movie. I thought it was really, really well done. His personal struggle with should he be, they took care of that in the TV series. And now to prove himself as Captain America and to be accepted as Captain America, I think it was really good. Another thing that I wouldn't have minded seeing, like in a post-credit scene, would be like John Walker reacting to some of the television.
Yeah, which there's
footage.
only one credit scene which I thought was kind of a letdown comparatively to like what we've gotten like 2s and 3s so many times recently.
The post-credit scene was
just the leader being like, "Oh, there's stuff gonna happen.
Yeah.
There's other universes that are gonna cause problems."
What would you do to save your universe, and are you prepared to fight other people who are doing it for the same reasons?
Mm-hmm.
The question was sound. That was really interesting from a philosophical point. But Sam Wilson's not a multiverse superhero right now.
That would have been way better if this movie came out sooner. But now us as the movie-going audience have already seen other universes in Spider-Man and Doctor Strange and even in the Marvels,
what's her face? Binary? I don't know what her name is. Carol's goddaughter.
Monica Rambeau.
Monica Rambeau, yeah. She gets sent to another. She falls through a rift and ends up with X-Men somewhere.
Okay, well,
and it's like, okay, so there's these multiverses out there. They're somehow connected. They've thrown that in everything. Even the Sony movies, you know. I mean, Venom was kind of here for a minute and gone.
Yeah.
And it's everybody's throwing that word around all over the place, and it's getting old fast. And so for the leader to then be like, oh, hey, there's this multiverse. It was almost like he was schooling a young Peter Parker, and he was Mirror Master, or not Mirror Master. What the hell's his name?
Mysterio.
Yeah, Mysterio. And it
Wrong
was
universe.
And it was like, okay, so there's another genius, right? Quentin Beck was this real smart guy.
Well, he had
a think tank. But I mean, the villains have always lately have been a lot of the really smart people that.
Well, we got the strong people.
Kang was a smart guy.
Yeah, well, he's dead now or whatever. He's gone now.
No longer an issue.
Hey, we have the Volume 3's bad guy. Guardians Volume 3 bad guy.
The High Evolutionary.
Yeah, him.
Who, to be honest with you, I think Marvel dropped the ball on that big time. I was saying when I watched that movie, I was like, he could be a Kang variant.
Yeah, because that's not the same actor.
And no, it does. Well, apparently, Jonathan Majors' contract said something about only he could play Kang, and that's why they had to erase Kang. I don't know.
We're getting really off track from Captain America.
But
we haven't talked about the Falcon yet.
Okay, let's do that. Let's talk about the Falcon. Was he needed?
Well, was he needed? No, but I enjoyed his presence.
I did too. I've got to say, the idea of the guy in a chair also being a guy in a jetpack was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I liked the dynamic of those two working together. I thought it was really well done. And again, a lot of people were like, "Well, we'd rather see Bucky in that role." So would I. But if they're gonna let Bucky go and be a congressman and then work with the Thunderbolts, let him do that.
Bucky's not a guy in a chair.
He's never been a guy. In a chair.
No insult to Bucky.
No, but he's an action guy.
The guy in the chair is typically the smart computer guy,
yeah.
and Bucky is not the computer guy.
No,
he never was the computer guy.
And the dynamic between Bucky and Sam is more like, we both have this best friend, so we have to be friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then how they struggle with that, especially when that guy's no longer in the equation, and the two third wheels have to figure out how to be a bike together. And I thought they handled it really well in this show.
And I felt like they kind of became friends. But Bucky
and you can tell that time has passed and that relationship has developed.
Yeah.
In the cameo that Bucky has in this movie, in the scene that they share together, the dialogue is just it was perfect.
Really, really good.
It was so well done.
But I think Bucky needs to have time to disconnect from Captain America.
I agree.
Like, he can turn to Sam, that's fine, but he can't. He needs to disassociate from Captain America because that's been
Steve.
His identity.
Yeah.
The entire unless
he's the Winter Soldier. Yeah.
Which he doesn't want to be that either.
Right. So, but the interesting thing with Joaquin, the new Falcon, he sort of stands in for the movie audience. He's got the role of watching Sam be Captain America and having that hero worship.
Yeah.
You know, like when Steve Rogers was first Captain America during World War II, the whole world was watching, and it was the blonde-haired, blue-eyed, perfect American dream version of this guy, which was unintentional, you know. Then when they tried it in the 30s and 40s, whenever it was that Isaiah was given the stuff, it was during a very dark period.
When was the Korean War?
Yeah, then.
I don't know.
I
don't know when that was.
It was a very dark time in our American history, and they used the MCU to reflect some of that. You know, the stuff that we did with the Tuskegee Airmen, that was real. The stuff that we did with the Red Tails, that was real. When we infected black soldiers with syphilis and told them it was vaccines for something, that was all real. That really happened. So then to mix it, no, it was before that. To mix in the Captain America mythos with that and have Isaiah Bradley be this very jaded, removed individual, and then Sam being a product of today, where he's influenced by these other pieces, but the man he is himself. That was really good. And again, they addressed that very well in the show of Captain America and the Winter Soldier. But in this movie, it's still, you can still tell it's a personal thing for Sam. It's part of who Sam is.
Yeah.
And it's part of what makes Sam the hero that he is. The guy that people aspire to. The guy that can inspire at the same time. You know, not just give people awe, because Steve Rogers is this god that you can't achieve.
You can't touch him. You can't.
Sam is an all-American man who has this history not only of being American, but being African-American, of being from a rural community, blue-collar family. He's got all of this real Americana in him. And so for this, and Joaquin says, as a kid in Miami, I was seeing this on TV, and I was like, I could be that one day. And he went into the military, as a lot of poor Americans do with no other options, who want to make a difference in the world. That's where they see that is. That's where they start. So his everyman journey is just beginning. And so I thought that the dynamic between the two of them was really well played. It's not something like a Batman and Robin where you've got this old mentor and this young kid. It's more like they're two people trying to find their way.
Yeah.
And Sam's got some experience and some knowledge that this guy is like, I want to be that kind of man. You know, and that kind of man is a hero. And I really thought that was well told as well. There are people who are like, oh, he was there for comedy relief. They talk about how he can't shut up, and then he doesn't shut up.
Which I didn't think he was there for comedy relief.
I didn't either. You're missing the point, right? The point is he is the voice of the audience, and he's a little bit modern. You know, he's got he's tech savvy. Mm-hmm. He's trying to show Isaiah how to airdrop stuff on the phone.
Airdrop things, yeah.
And it's funny because that generation gap, that exists for real.
Yeah.
So for them to show that in superhero form was pretty neat. Because when he's trying to get Falcon better trained, where does he bring him? He brings him to Isaiah's gym. Mm-hmm. You know, as Sam rebuilds the team, I'm kind of hoping that he keeps Isaiah there as a mentor type character who can be a physical trainer, somebody who keeps people grounded in reality. And it's interesting because Isaiah was very toxic in where he was, and he was locked in and lost. And Sam helped be the light in his life and bring him out of that. And so for him to now be able to help Sam do that, to be part of the team, I think is really important. And I hope they don't forget him in the future of Captain America and the Avengers. You know,
I don't think they will, because it seems like Marvel's starting to get their act together now with fewer movies, more.
So let's project. Who do we want Captain America to recruit?
Let's see. I have a guaranteed no. I don't want Spider-Man.
I don't either.
Spider-Man needs to be off by himself, doing ground level things.
Or he could mentor the Young Avengers. That's fine too.
That works too. I want to see him and like Daredevil and maybe like Kate Bishop doing like New York stuff.
Yeah.
So that's not a no. I don't want Kate Bishop.
Okay. No
Kate Bishop. This is just me. I don't like Riri Williams. I don't think Ironheart. I don't think it should be Ironheart. Nothing against the actress from Wakanda Forever. I thought she acted very well. Yeah. But I think it should be Harvey Keitel or Harley, whatever.
I agree.
The guy from Iron Man 3. It should be him, I think.
And if he's not going to be on the Avengers team...
they brought him back for Endgame for the funeral. He's got to be something.
If we put him as one of the men in the chair, as a support member even on the team, that's fine with me. I could deal with that. Like a Maria Hill type role.
He can like maybe just help like make tech or something.
Yep,
that could be fine.
That would be good. But I mean, superhero wise, who do you want to see?
I really like Shang-Chi, so
he's on
Shang-Chi for sure.
We've got Falcon already. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And he's off with Scar or whatever, doing whatever. I'll be right there. She-Hulk, Shang-Chi. I think Doctor Strange should still be on the team. We need a magic person.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of American Chavez, but I could understand if they
we could have. Put her on there. I didn't mind Miss Marvel in her TV show.
I thought but again, age-wise, I think she's a little young.
Oh yeah, that's true.
All right, so but we're gonna end here.
I can stay here,
right,
and
I'll be back.
Okay, he'll be back. I'm just gonna sit and talk to myself. So, let's see. So we're gonna keep going through. Who else should he recruit? I'm like looking at. We got our movies out over here, so I'm looking at like phases like 4 and 5. So let's see. We got Black Widow, which no one from there, I don't think. So, yeah, because Natasha, of course, dies. Is already dead. And Yelena and Red Guardian are both going to be in Thunderbolts. I think Red Guardian might die, but that's a me thing. So let's see. Shang-Chi, I already said. Eternals, that's their own separate team. Spider-Man, I said no to. WandaVision. Huh. White Vision, that could work, actually. That's a person. Okay. White Vision from WandaVision could also be recruited. That could be fun. That'd be another like heavy hitter kind of character, a good fighting character for sure. Thor, I'm on the fence about, because on the one hand, I would love to keep seeing Thor and Chris Hemsworth doing stuff, but also, I don't know. I think he wants to just retire and just sit back and just raise his new daughter kind of thing he got from Gore. That's a weird movie. That's a weird ending to that. But I don't know. Thor could or could not be a good addition to the team. I'm kind of on the fence about that. Ant-Man, I think Ant-Man and the Wasp should both be on the team. And then Cassie Lang, who I don't know what her hero name is, but Cassie should not be on the team. She's too young for Avengers team. I think she should definitely be like a Young Avengers team, like on the Young Avengers team. So yeah, that's Ant-Man, Wasp, and White Vision that I said, and Thor is a maybe. Doctor Strange, I kind of agree with. I think Doctor Strange or Wong should be there. Wong's the Sorcerer Supreme, so that's kind of out there. So the new Guardians. Yes, the new Guardians. I don't think they're their own team. They don't need to be on. They're not Avengers, so they don't need to be part of an Avengers team. So, yeah. We do know that Peter is now on Earth, but I don't think Peter needs to be on the Avengers.
Did you think more people?
I have 3 more people. Yeah.
All right. Who'd you think of?
Ant-Man and the Wasp should stay on the team. I think should be on the team.
Both of them?
Ant-Man and the Wasp, yeah. Not Cassie. I think Cassie is too young for that.
Yeah, Stature should be on.
I didn't know his hero name. Okay. And then I got White Vision from WandaVision.
Okay. And he's getting a show sometime soon.
And maybe Thor, but also I kind of wanted to go
he's
be
off
with his daughter. That was exactly my argument. And they all know I said something.
Okay, I think guy in a suit, Rhodey. I want him back. I think War Machine would be a great. If we can't get, if not Rhodey, then we take White Vision.
Well, guy in a suit, you have Riri Williams. You're gonna have Ironheart.
No, I don't want. I don't have Riri Williams.
I don't want Ironheart either. We're going to.
I don't think that's a good fit.
Yeah. And I think she's too young. She might
that's
be
a
too
kid
young.
in a suit. Put her in the Young Avengers.
Yeah, that works.
Dump her over there. I don't care.
Get that team more heavy hitters because that needs some stuff.
But yeah, but I would like to see Rhodey. I think that would be a good fit.
I think if you say Secret Invasion is a what if spinoff, like that's not part of that at all. That would solve actually a lot of
Even
problems.
if Rhodey was a
Skrull.
We don't know when. I refuse to think that it was during the funeral from. No, it was really him. He was really there, and in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the conversation that he has with Sam is too important to have been a fake one. So no, I want to go with that Rhodey and have that Rhodey be on the Avengers. I think he's earned his spot, and I think the fact that him and Sam are able to talk to each other after the accident that happened, and I mean Rhodey's back, and even if come on, even if Rhodey was a Skrull, they could. There's plenty of tech crap in this universe that they could make somebody walk again.
Yeah,
they could do it with Barbara Gordon. They could do it with Rhodey.
I think honestly, what would have been better for Secret Invasion if they made it like Maria Hill was the Skrull.
I think that would
have been actually really cool, because then you had the emotional stuff from Rhodey still, but also the impact of like, holy crap, Maria's been a Skrull for who knows how long.
Also, back to my team, Shuri.
Yeah, that
put
works.
Black Panther on the team. She's sort of. I think that and if not Shuri, then a representative from. I mean, what's the? Oh God, she has a suit that in Wakanda Forever. Okoye, yes. Wait, is that the mom? No, the mom.
The mom.
Yes, T'Challa's son's mother. I forget her name.
Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
But they made her a suit, and in the comics, she actually becomes something beyond the Dora Milaje.
It's that blue and whatever gold thing. Yeah.
That would be a cool represent, because I think you need in an Avengers team. I think you need an international element, and so Shang-Chi still he lives in America. He's San Francisco, or even that Scarab chick from
Moon Knight. I don't think she's powerful enough though.
I don't know.
Well, like
she's the avatar of a goddess.
She has those wings, but she has nothing else. But I'm not saying she's weak, but she has bulletproof wings, and that's all she has.
I think the Avengers need an international.
I mean, I slid the Falcon. That's all he has.
They need an international piece, so they can say that they're the world's team, not America's team.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to be run by Captain America. They want to make, and he even talks about that in this movie too. We're going to be working for Ross. I really don't like that idea. I like the idea of working with the president, not for the president. The Avengers are not an American team.
And Captain America, there was a big point made that in Brave New World that he is not part of the government. He was helping the government. He's not part of the government at all. He's his own entity.
Well, Akeem, I wasn't really sure if he's still in the Air Force or not.
Both. I don't think that's an option.
And then there was that weird thing with the SEAL team. I really hate that guy got.
That guy died. That was unfortunate.
I mean,
so attached, just like the
there are moments where the leader is a sympathetic dude, and then there are other moments where he's this vicious, evil.
Just like the civilians, you get so attached to them, and it's like, oh, he died. That's sad.
But yeah, I think having Shuri or some international component on that team.
Yeah.
And Wakanda might be pushing it, but we never.
That's the only option we have right now.
We never got to see the Black Panther as part of the Avengers.
Yeah, because I was going through. So we have the movies right here. I was going through them, and I was like, Black Widow, no one from that works. Shang-Chi, I said already. Eternals, no one works.
Why couldn't Yelena walk away from the Thunderbolts? I mean, we don't know where that's going to go.
I mean, I guess she could, but
Yelena's amazing, but there's no connection.
And when you consider our team at this point, do we need a melee assassin? No,
we don't have a connection.
Yeah.
Yelena doesn't know anybody on the team.
Yeah.
Same with, I mean, that's why I wouldn't pick Red Guardian. He's outmoded. He's like Isaiah Bradley, but not as useful.
I'm calling it right now that he is going to die in Thunderbolts. I think he's going to die.
I really don't care if Taskmaster dies.
Yeah.
Most people think that she's gonna.
Ghost can
die.
I
hope Ghost dies.
I hope Ghost dies. That's a bit.
I really hate.
Yeah, I didn't like
U.S. Agent.
I like John.
They did a perfect
Walker.
job of making me not like John Walker in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Never
Too
liked
good a
him.
Job. I liked him.
Never ever liked him. Was ready. He could. I don't care about him at all. Now maybe in Thunderbolts we'll care about him. They're giving him a kid. They're gonna make.
I think they're gonna try to make him, Yelena, and Sam, and not Sam.
Bucky.
Yes, Bucky. The three main. Those are like the main characters of the group. Like how think like Avengers.
You have
like,
three super. You have three super soldiers on this team. You may as well put Isaiah Bradley on there. I mean, you have
4.
You have 4.
Red Guardian's also a super soldier.
Yeah, Red Guardian. Yelena's not.
Oh yeah, she isn't.
Yelena's not a super soldier. You have 3 super soldiers on the team. Then you have a super spy. Then you got
2 super spies.
You got the copycat thing that Taskmaster
whatever.
And they got Ghost, who's an assassin who can zip in and out of reality. Except she's cured, so who knows if she even has her superpower?
No, she was getting quantum energy to regulate that.
Yeah, whatever.
So she can control it more.
You know what I'd like to see back? Where's Goliath?
Dusted, and then he never came back.
He was working with her.
Who knows what happened?
I mean, they can't afford Lawrence Fishburne probably, but
I mean, they can afford whatever they want. Why are they willing to? Is the question.
I mean, that'd be an interesting hero. To get back to the Avengers team, I disagree with Wasp. I do agree with Ant-Man. I think Evangeline Lilly, the woman who plays the Wasp, said she's retiring from acting or whatever. And in Quantumania, they talk about how she's doing things with her company to better the world. She doesn't have to be a superhero anymore.
Okay, yeah, that's
and
fair.
I kind of like that.
And I mean, that's not a kind of like not super genius, but like a genius kind of people. You have like Hope and Hank are both really
that
smart.
whole Pym company, you know, or
yeah,
the Van Dyne kind of whatever they're calling it.
I think it's still Pym Tech.
But then you have Ant-Man, who he'd be great for comedy relief.
Yeah, he would be.
Paul Rudd's amazing. He's pretty smart, tech-wise.
Yeah,
surprisingly.
Well, he's smart because of his association to Hank.
He was, if you remember,
well,
when he introduced him. He was a computer hacker guy who made that.
He's a
burglar,
really good burglar.
Right. But he also figured out the quantum heist angle and time travel. And he was the Deus Ex Machina for getting everybody back.
The Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah, that one.
the Machina. The Deus Ex Machina.
He's an amazing, and it's Paul Rudd, for God's sake. Everybody loves Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
Throw him on the team, and all of a sudden you've got more people watching the movie.
That's true.
Moms will come to the theater with their kids. You know what I mean? I mean. He's not a sex symbol, but he's that everyman kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I really like the dynamic between him and Sam Wilson too. I mean, how many people get away with calling him Tic Tac? I just love that.
Yeah, that's fun.
And I mean, he's mentioned a couple of times in this movie.
Yeah, I really want to see the new Falcon meeting Ant-Man.
I think that'd be cool.
That's what he really wants to meet.
Well, it'd be cool to see him to see him go, oh wow, it's Ant-Man, and Sam be like, dude, I'm right here.
Yeah,
like I'm cooler than him.
The banter between Scott Lang and Sam Wilson would be very fun to see.
Right, and so I would put him on the team just for that.
Yeah. I just picture Ant-Man and the Wasp as like a quantum, as a duo.
Right. And I could see that too, but I'm not saying they say, oh, Hope, you can't come, but Hope is running a company and doing this other stuff. She's almost at the point where she's a retired hero.
I think if she's there, if Scott's there, she'll be mentioned or will have a cameo, but she might not be on the team itself. But she will be present.
He can be calling in and checking in with her at home.
Or it could even be like, oh, Hope's off doing such and such thing.
Saving the world.
Like something like Hope will be mentioned.
Hope's planting wheat in a desert somewhere. Planting
wheat in a desert.
To try to feed people. You know, I mean, that's
what wheat grow in a desert?
But that's what her company was trying to do, is figure out how to bioengineer things to make the world a better place that way. That's where her genius lies.
And then we're looking at what next movie would be Guardians. I'm like, Guardians are their own team. The new Guardians.
You know what?
But then that got me thinking of
Star-Lord.
Yeah, Peter. But
put Peter on the team.
Yeah. Well.
But who knows Peter?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Technically the people who were there at Endgame should know, so Sam should know at least that he was present.
Right. I mean, he was one of the ones that came
back. Wait, so who was not snapped?
Rocket and
yeah, I know Rocket wasn't snapped. I mean, of this new team, who is not snapped? Ant-Man is not snapped.
But he was missing for.
No, but he's there with the. I'm saying he knows Rocket, so he would know Peter through Rocket's telling of the thing.
There's not enough. Of a
so would Rhodey. Rhodey knocks out Peter. So Rhodey, if Rhodey's on the team, Rhodey can. Remember in Endgame, in Endgame when they go back to 2014, Rhodey just
Oh,
knocks him out,
and he called
and
him
it's like he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't see Peter on Earth is interesting,
But then
but he doesn't have a personal.
Guns,
He doesn't have
it.
right. He doesn't have a personal connection to anybody who would be on the team.
Yeah.
And all of his personal connections are on teams that are out in space. Speaking of space, I don't want to see Captain Marvel on a team.
Yeah.
That's a no. I think Spider-Man's a no. I think Captain Marvel's a no.
I think Captain Marvel's a no for the same.
think
I
Thor-
think Captain Marvel is a no for the opposite reason as to why Elena's a no. Where Captain Marvel is just too much. Like you don't need a metal shield when you have Captain Marvel who can just blow up everything.
Right.
You don't need it.
Just
like it would have flying Captain America. You don't need a person who can punch.
Right.
Or can shoot a gun.
He's never going to get a chance to talk anything down because there won't be anything left standing.
Exactly. Right. That's also why I don't think you need Peter because he has guns.
But I do want to
I like Peter a lot, of course.
But I do want to have some muscle on the team, which is why I think She-Hulk would be a good
She-Hulk.
addition. And we don't know what's going on with Wanda.
I don't think she's dead. There's no way she died. And
I think we all know she's not dead.
Yeah.
But we don't know what's going on with her. Is she a hero? Is she a villain? Is she somewhere in between? What's going to happen?
I think Hulk is getting set up because we went from one Hulk to in like 2-3 years. Now we have 4 different Hulks running around.
Yeah.
Plus Abomination, so that's 5 different Hulk things.
Well, that's an interesting thing too. Originally on the Avengers team, I guess they wanted the Abomination. Right, in the Marvel universe.
No,
there
because
was one that they said that in that consultant short movie, they trip up Ross, who wanted to put the Abomination on the team of the Avengers to make it so that Banner ended up on the Avengers instead because they disagreed. You remember that? It was one of the shorts that they did.
I thought Ross's whole thing was he said he was hunting the Hulk. He then switched to I was hunting the Abomination because Hulk's not a bad guy.
Okay.
That's where the switch from Hulk to Abomination was at the end of Incredible Hulk when he's like, I've been hunting Abomination. He's the evil one.
I think of all of them, the one that makes the most sense would be She-Hulk.
The only problem is she can break the fourth wall. She can do it. She can go talk to Kevin again.
But the fact that she breaks the fourth wall is not what the character is. She's not like Deadpool.
Yeah.
It happens occasionally. It's not. Well, in her show, it happened all the time. So yeah, maybe that would be a little bit too far. But we need somebody super strong. And one of the people online has suggested The Thing.
But
he's not really. He's already part of a team. He's not really here yet.
Yeah.
And if we wanted to start saying, well, our dream team, and we could start adding X-Men, then why not Beast? If they had Beast, they would need a Hulk.
Or we could do like A-Bomb. He's not a thing yet, but
he doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, but the blue guy, he's cool. Which I mean, Beast's also blue, but the blue Hulk guy.
I mean, if you pull from the TV show and the shows, they introduced Quake and the Absorbing Man inside of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. television show.
Yeah,
Mockingbird, that was the name.
It seems like they're almost trying to set up like some kind of like World War Hulk or Hulk thing, even though they can't do that yet until they get the rights from Universal.
Right.
That's the only Marvel character they don't have full rights to, isn't it?
I think so.
I think so. Right?
But I don't really see. I don't know if Marvel.
They don't have full rights to Spider-Man, obviously.
Even if
they
Marvel,
they have Sony's Spider-Man.
Sure, yeah.
But
even if they did a Hulk, I mean, there's no reason for a Hulk-centric thing right now. They've got Red Hulk that isn't. I mean, they introduced him as right now he's a mindless beast. They introduced
Red Hulk. No,
Red Hulk was a mindless beast. He wasn't thinking.
Then how could he be talked down? He was talked down.
Right. Eventually, he was calmed down where he became. But in the comic books, Red Hulk keeps his mind and is intelligent. He knows he knows what's going on. He can think. He can talk. In this movie, he was a rage monster.
Yeah.
And they talk about that's what he was designed to be. Because that's what the leader wanted him to feel, right?
Because the leader wanted him to go blow up Japan's fleet as him.
So maybe in the development of this, they could turn that into something different. But I mean, I don't know if Harrison Ford signed up to do a one-off or if this is a thing that he wants to continue. I mean, if it's a thing he wants to continue, there's a damn movie called Thunderbolts coming out, and Red Hulk's not apparently in it.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? Why isn't Red Hulk in it? Why isn't the leader? Why isn't Zemo in it? In the comics, this was a villains team, and in this one, like you said, oh, it's mostly anti-heroes or people who've been pardoned. Did Red Guardian get a pardon? And if so, from who? Because he was an enemy of the state. I mean,
he was in a prison
in Russia.
Yeah.
But he's wanted in America too. Remember, they took off from Ohio when he burned down a plant and had this stuff, and they all had to fly away.
Yeah, but they can't pin that to him. It was a spy thing. They don't know who it was.
Whatever. I'm pretty sure with the Hydra files that got released, they know everything.
It was Red Room, not Hydra though. It was Red Room.
Okay.
The Red Room got blown up. They didn't get the files leaked.
That's true. And he wasn't arrested when Ross picked up everybody at that thing. They were off saving. That was weird. Knowing what happened from the time at the end of the Black Widow movie to the Thunderbolts would be kind of interesting because it'd be interesting to see that dynamic on how Yelena and him are together.
I understand
and that's part of why I think
the Widows probably all got. The Widows probably all got pardoned. I would assume because they were
the
all
Widows
mind
weren't
controlled. They were all spies who were murderers.
Most of them hadn't committed, or most of them weren't wanted for crimes. They were placed in places where they could commit crimes. And that's just I mean, the chick that we were talking about, the tiny girl in this movie was a widow.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm going with that. I don't know how did she get into the high government position with being a widow is shocking.
She's cured and has skills.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. I
mean,
guess.
Black Natasha was high up, but that was because she was.
Yeah, but she was in the
Nick. This chick was protected by Ross.
Who's
the
historically has been against any sort of
that
like
might have been part of his change of heart. He was trying to prove to his daughter by having strong women around. I don't know. I didn't write it.
Okay.
And I would not. I mean, that character in the comics is an Israeli superhero.
That girl?
Yeah.
Oh, she's an actual person? I thought that was made for the movie. Okay.
So they changed her around a little bit, made her an ex-Black Widow, and then put her in as a tiny American woman. I don't understand what she was even. She's on his security detail, but
I think that was like the head of his security.
Right. Which
she's she's the head of Secret Service.
Right, except she wasn't. But yeah, that's what she would be in the real world. She'd be a Secret Service agent.
You know, like the head of it. Okay. In charge of everything. Except she doesn't have the clearance.
She's on the
except she doesn't have
detail.
Except she doesn't have the clearance to get them unarrested.
That was a little weird.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that before we finish up here. What about the mind control aspect? Did it bother you?
It didn't bother me very much because that's kind of the leader's whole shtick.
Yeah. What bothered me is how surprised people were at the prospect of mind control.
Why is that surprising?
Because one of the people that we're talking about is the Winter Soldier. His whole thing was about being mind controlled.
Yes.
The Hydra mind control project, the Red Room mind control project, she's an ex-Black Widow working on the president's staff. And
she wasn't surprised by that.
And they're shocked about the idea of mind control.
She was not shocked. She was not shocked at all.
Until she saw the video with the little blinking lights, she was like, "Oh, there's no way he was." And they wouldn't even entertain the idea.
Because that was for Bradley, because Bradley was a U.S. government thing.
Okay.
And she didn't see the U.S. government doing that kind of thing.
Well, and it was other people on the security detail who were also affected.
It was all the other
people. There were
5
people who tried to shoot the president that night.
And there, everyone who gets mind control eventually, it's all off of that one song, which I thought was that was interesting. I thought like the one song was the trigger kind of thing.
Well, and you understood why, right?
No, I didn't. I didn't listen to what the word. I couldn't really hear what the words were saying.
It's something to do with Mr. Blue.
Yeah. Oh, because he's Mr. Blue.
He was Mr. Blue in the Hulk.
Okay, yeah.
That was one of those little callbacks that that you could appreciate more for seeing.
I just didn't know what the song was saying.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what that was.
Okay, but I thought it was fine overall, like the mind control aspect. I thought how he was taking the genetic data didn't make much sense because how is he getting the genetic data
from all those other people?
From all the people in the military.
Yeah. From the president's secret.
He had all people in the military. He had people over all the ones at the base. He had tons of people with different DNA, which I was thinking the whole time, like, if he has government DNA, couldn't he have the Falcons and Captain America's DNA? Couldn't he mind control one of both of them? Which I thought, if he controlled the Falcon, that would have been so interesting. That could have been an interesting thing as well.
What I thought would have been interesting too is he has now created a Hulk, which they've said in the past was a derivative of the Super Soldier program. So is this guy somebody who could synthesize a Super Soldier serum?
Well, I think it's very, very possible.
Especially if we have Super Soldier serum, we know of 4 living examples. 3 of them are in Thunderbolts, and then you've got Isaiah.
Steve's not confirmed to be dead yet.
I said we know of 4. We can hypothesize about a 5th.
And we have whatever the Black Panther stuff is.
Yep.
Do you it doesn't pass genetically though, doesn't? No.
No, they have to.
Yeah,
because the plant.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know if like it could pass through.
They could take it away. The fact that you could take away the powers of the Black Panther means it's definitely not genetic.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't stay in your DNA. It's drug induced.
Well, we don't know if Shuri's synthetic one it'll be taken away.
That's true.
Because that's now what we don't have the plant anymore. The plant was all burned by Killmonger.
Right.
So we have the synthetic.
Although
one.
I'm sure that somewhere in Wakanda they'll find another thing and try to re-splice it or grow it or whatever.
Well, he has the synthetic stuff. You can just redo that all the time.
I know. Here's a pill, become a superhero. And it's like Our Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, to wrap things up, I think we've gone long enough. We're babbling here. To wrap things up, Captain America was a good movie. I give it a thumbs up. I'm very glad I saw it. I will buy it when it comes out. I will watch it again.
My expectations were very, very high for this movie, and I did not see any spoilers, and I thought they lived up to my expectations very well.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the film.
And people talk about how, this is one of those throwaway Marvel movies.
I don't think it is.
The Eternals, that movie was not good. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good. The Marvels was bad.
I could have turned around and watched it immediately again, I think.
This one, yeah. I could
have 100% just right back into the theater.
I was still excited. I left I went into the movie feeling excited. I didn't want to get up and use the bathroom. I didn't want to get up and refill my popcorn. I didn't want to miss anything. I felt invested in a Marvel movie again. And that's been a while. I mean, even Deadpool, I was like, this is okay, but it wasn't the kind of movie where it was like, oh, I can't wait to see it again. I mean, I would watch it again on occasion, but the point of a Deadpool movie is different from a point of
even like movie. Guardians 3, I don't like that was so emotional. I don't want to immediately go through all that again.
Right.
This was just really, really fun, and I have one nitpick. Like it's really, really stupid, and I told you this already. But at the end with Red Hulk, when that happens, the White House just crumbles. Yeah. It crumbles like it's made of like twigs and leaves.
100% agree.
It just falls apart.
Why in a world that has had superheroes now?
Why is it not reinforced with anything?
And why isn't there a superhero response team?
Which, I mean, it's still breaking. Obviously, without it's gonna break, right? It's a Hulk stomping through it. It's gonna break.
Fall apart. Yeah.
But Hulk just like bats a thing, and it's like, oh, here's half this room just collapsed. It's like he touched a pillar.
And in a world where we have the Hulk, and we've seen a Hulkbuster suit, and we've seen the prison that they wanted to put in the first Avengers ship, that round thing that would hold the Hulk.
So that's S.H.I.E.L.D., which is
defunct, but it's still military. It's still American military stuff.
And then Tony's, which has also been reclaimed by Damage Control.
You had the Sonic.
What are they? They should have been involved with something.
Oh, they got in a lot of trouble after they went after teenagers in the
Miss Marvel.
Marvel series. But we've seen Sonic weapons used on the Hulk in the Hulk movie. You know, I mean, that's what, and those were Stark weapons as well. Why? Why would they just go to, okay, we have a gun, let's shoot it? You know
it's not going to work. And also, yes, he's a Hulk. He's also your president still.
Well, I could see where they should have been a little more conflicted, is what you're saying.
When the Secret Service immediately is like, oh, he's becoming a Hulk. We got to shoot him immediately. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, that was a little weird. You saw the one chick go, "Mr. President," and then he responded with the Hulk rage, and
He just
no,
growled a little bit and looked up.
Well, and then
but he didn't outright. He didn't clap until he started getting shot at.
I do want to say, the response that the Hulk gave in this movie when he was fighting, and to see him adapt to being a Hulk. I mean, it hinted that his military training was still in there.
Yeah, it seemed like he was still smart enough to like grab the wings and to rip the wing. Which ripping the wings part was awesome. I thought that was really cool.
Even when he took out the drones on the, I mean, I was like, you could almost see tactical thinking, not just rage. So there was a difference between the Red Hulk and our Green Hulk. So I did like that, but the response that the American military had. I mean, what if a superhero were to, stop in at the White House and grab the president? You would think there would be some kind of response to that written up somewhere.
Yeah.
Especially now that there are no Avengers.
Yeah.
There should be something. And maybe that's where we'll see maybe that's what the response is they create the Thunderbolts. Who knows? Maybe that's going to be part of this. But it just seemed a little weird that after years and years of all of these movies with all of these different types of superheroes, that the American response team for the president doesn't have anything where they could put him in somewhere. I mean, we saw him go to the bunker after his assassination attempt, but that's not going to stop somebody with super strength. It barely stops Sam.
Well, Sam just walked in there because he was allowed to.
He grabbed it. You can't go in there. He's grabbing stuff and pushing the button. Nobody's shooting at Sam.
Yeah, well, because he's not a Hulk stomping through. He's smart and being deliberate with his things.
But I mean, I just find it amazing that there is no like pulse rifle or freeze gun or time stopping element thing. I mean, whatever. It's the science of the MCU should be at the point where they could stop a rampaging superhero from doing something to the White House. So yeah, I definitely understand that point of contention.
And we know that like Wong, at least half the time is based out of New York. Spends half his time there.
Yeah.
Which he could help with something. He's based in the U.S. and New York is not that far away from Washington.
I like the idea of Shang-Chi being on our new Avengers team, but I was thinking Stephen Strange or some presence from the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, I think Stephen, not Wong, because Wong is Sorcerer Supreme.
Wong is Sorcerer Supreme. He can't do it.
Yeah, but Stephen could do it.
He could. But again, personal connection to the team, there isn't one. And professional connection to the team, there isn't one. And Stephen's a little bit too smug, I think, to be much of a joiner. Mm-hmm. So I hope they somehow figure out how to make him an Avenger, because I think they need him. But I don't want him to be running the team. And I don't know if he would actually listen to Sam.
Yeah, I mean, we got at least 2 movies until any of this actually starts happening. Maybe Thunderbolts, but I don't think so. No. They're not going to bring... I mean, we didn't think they'd do Sebastian Stan back-to-back, which they got a cameo, and then he's going to get a movie. So maybe he'll go to cameo, but I don't think so.
It'd be interesting to see Sam at the end of Thunderbolts at like a post-credit scene, trying to recruit part of the team.
Whoever survives Thunderbolts, yeah.
It won't be John Walker.
Why not? It could be.
No.
They didn't hate each other.
I think after Sam breaks John's arm and is forced to take the shield from him after he murders somebody with Captain America's shield on TV, I think we're done with John Walker.
Well, I like John Walker, so no.
He's fine as U.S. agent on a covert team doing what has to be done, but he does not belong on the Avengers.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even put him on the West Coast Avengers. He doesn't belong on the Avengers at all.
Well, I don't know why was he on the West Coast.
Yeah,
anyway,
they had a West Coast Avengers that was, they had a Great Lakes Avengers that were
a Great Lakes Avengers.
They had a Great Lakes Avengers, yeah, where it was like Midwestern superheroes.
They can't
they
can't.
I think it was on Lake Huron, or maybe it was Superior. I don't know, but it was
Superior.
It was on the Great Lakes.
Huron is the most. I mean, Michigan's probably the most middle one. But...
Maybe it was like, I don't know, but they had a little compound on one of the Great Lakes. They called themselves the Great Lakes Avengers. It was,
I mean, Michigan makes the most sense because that's next to Michigan and like, that's
Well,
next to all those states.
and
But
it
that's not what.
it was also where the Justice League from the other comic book company was based for a little while. They had a Detroit Justice League, and they lived in that old.
Oh,
car
if we're
complex.
next to Detroit, then that is Huron.
Right.
Next
So
to Detroit,
that might maybe that was a Great Lakes.
Huron, I
Maybe
think
that was
Ontario.
the response. I don't know. But I think we've talked this to death. I'm not sure anybody really responded. I didn't see any.
They said we have one person watching right now.
But we might not know exactly how to do this stuff right. So I hope you enjoyed it. Once this is posted, please, comment. Give us ideas of who you'd put on a new Avengers team. And if you've seen the movie, tell us if you enjoyed it, or if we're totally off base and you think that we suck because this movie was garbage. If that's the case, I mean, I'm not going to censor you.
Yeah, feel free to express your opinion.
Yeah.
We'll
and then
all
subscribe.
probably yeah, and then subscribe and like, please.
Then
I'll comment on. I'll reply to your comments.
Yeah, but
always.
this is a school night for us, so we're gonna turn in and start getting ready to get the house shut down. So thank you very much. Have a good night. From the Men in the Cave, this is us signing off.